محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So our focus today, Ramadan Kareem, and if it's the 17th night for you or the 17th day for you, many felicitations for the Battle of Badr. I have to tell you this though before I start. So there are three places where du'as are heard. One, when you're just about to break your fast. So before you break your fast, ask, because there's no veils between you and Allah. The second one is when you first cast a glance at the Kaaba, your first look. And the third one is on the 17th of Ramadan, night and day. And here, this is a day when the impossible becomes the possible. I know I say this a lot, but I'm telling you, this is really amazing. Surah number 8, ayah number 9 is tastaghithu rabbakum. When you pleaded to your Rabb, fastajaba lakum, he answered you. Anni mumaddukum, I will help you. Bi alfin min al malaikati, with 1,000 angels, murdifin, one following the other. And this is a day when 313 fought 1,000, and my goodness, they won. And they only had measly amount of resources, while the other side had a lot of resources. So when you're feeling overwhelmed by something, please recite this ayah 8, 9. You can't forget it. Surah number 8, ayah number 9. And if you want to see the result of what happened, it's in Surah Al-Rum, Surah number 30, ayah 4, 5 and 6. We'll put it in the chat somewhere so you can see it. But we're going to go to our focus. It's Juz 17. Today it's two surahs, Surah Al-Anbiya and Surah Al-Hajj. Literally the two surahs are in Juz 17. I've got to tell you this. My mom, when she was pregnant with me, was petrified. Just petrified of having a baby. Nobody explained to her what it was like. She was just so scared. And somebody in her dream told her, recite Juz 17. That's all she knew. And the moment she started reciting Juz 17, she started feeling better. Now, I'd never memorized the Qur'an as such for a long time when I was young. But if you gave me any ayah from this Juz, I could tell you where it was. And I can tell you it was which surah it was from. And I'd never heard it before. So something that she did when she recited it every single day during her pregnancy, or since she found out and she was petrified, this had an effect. So Juz 17 for me is an important thing. So hey, let's look at it and see where we go to. Journaling is literally to be able to personalize your Quran, make it your own, add lots more to it. I'm only touching I'm just skimming the top. You will add more as you go along. Always wudu, recite in Arabic. See, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, La ilaha illallah, and walzam qalbi hifdha kitabika kama allamtani. Make me commit my heart to your book as you have taught me. In other words, I just want to love this book, and I just want to love Allah through this book, through His words. Juz 17 focuses, like I said, on two whole surahs, Anbiya and Hajj. This is what it does. We've got some knickknacks in there. You can see 2187, which is Ayatul Karima, and you can see the Kaaba, which represents Hajj as such. Surah Al-Anbiya, when you think of Surah Al-Anbiya, literally you're going to think of prophets. Obviously, it talks about 16 prophets. But to me, the ayah that really comes up is Rahmatul lil Alameen. And the Prophet is Rahmatul lil Alameen. The Prophet said, whoever recites Surah Al-Anbiya, Allah makes his accounting easy. And every Prophet whose name has been mentioned in the Quran will greet him and shake his hands. I mean, I think that's phenomenal. It's actually wonderful. So, let me go to my Quran so you can see. Cut it out, stick it in there. I put 16 prophets up there, and I put prophets a mercy to humankind. Okay, just there. And I've put their stories of the trials of the prophets there. We're going to start with the first ayah, which is Iqtaraba. Okay, and it starts off with Iqtaraba. Iqtaraba is literally a warning, but it means something has come near. So, has come near, linnasi, to human beings, hisabuhum, their accountability. وَهُمْ فِي غَفْلَةٍ مُعْرِضُونَ, but they are so heedless of it. Accounting is so near, yet they're heedless. Remember, Iqtaraba. Iqtaraba is a warning, literally a warning. It is so near, it's touchable, and yet they are heedless of it. مَا يَعْتِيهِم مِّن ذِكْرٍ, So many reminders, min rabbihim, come to him. Muhdathin is a new reminder, like hadith. It's a new story. A new reminder has come to them. Illa istama'u, they pretend to listen. Wahum yal'abun, but they don't take it seriously. Sometimes it's like we put on the Qur'an in the background or du'as in the background. We pretend we're listening, but we don't take them seriously. Lahiyatan qulubuhum, he says. So what does that mean? See, lahaw is like they're messing around, they're playing. Their hearts are just messing around. Their hearts are distracted, basically. Wa asarrun najwa, and then they have secret meetings. Alladhina dhalamu, those who are being unjust, they're the ones who have these secret meetings. Ahla hadha illa basharun mithlukum, he is just a human being like you. Afatatuna sihra wa antum tubsirun, he is mesmerizing you with his magic while you are looking. So that was the response they had. That was what they did. That's the way they were heedless towards accountability. Now we're going to go to ayah 37. So if you go to ayah 37, that was just a taster of how they reacted and how we all react. So if you look at 37, he says, خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ عَجَلٍ, the human being is created, so he wants everything now, quickly, al-ajal, right now. It's just like when you see 2 ticks on your WhatsApp and then that person doesn't reply, you get slightly upset. Why haven't they replied to me? سَأُرِيكُمْ آيَاتِي فَلَا تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ, and he says, I will show you my signs. Don't ask me to hurry that up. So human beings want everything in a hurry. He said, please don't ask for accountability to be hurried up. So here we are. I've put haste there. That's what I've put. Okay. Because they kept on saying, if you look at the other ayah, وَيَقُولُونَ مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدُ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ, when this thing you're promising us, all this stuff you're telling us that we're going to have punishment, when is it going to come? If you're truthful, tell us. The next ayah we're going to look at is something that you all know. قُلْنَا يَا نَارُ كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا عَلَىٰ إِبْرَاهِيمَ, we said, O fire, become cool and peaceful to Ibrahim. Now you know Ibrahim, and you know his story, we talked about it. So we have Prophet Ibrahim, he's telling them their gods are useless, he breaks their gods, the statues of their gods. He tells them, you believe in the moon and the sun and the stars. And now Namrud is furious. So he tells his people, build a big fire. And he tells Ibrahim, what's your God going to do anyway? Builds a massive fire. Even the birds that were flying over got singed. So nobody had even got the strength to put Ibrahim in the fire. So they built this massive catapult, really, really massive catapult. And they were going to catapult him into it. So you can imagine Prophet Ibrahim going in this catapult, really calm, because he trusts Allah. This doesn't say that we told Ibrahim that the fire would be cold. La la la, he didn't know. In fact, we're told in a hadith that Jibreel comes and says, can I help? And he says, I don't want your help. I want Allah's help. So kulna, we told the fire, kuni, become bardan wa salaman ala Ibrahim. Become cold and peace for Ibrahim. Hadith tells us that Prophet Ibrahim says this is the best place he's ever been, inside this fire. You all know that you will recite this when you have a temperature. Please go to the doctor, please take medication, but dawa and dua. So kulna ya naru kuni bardan wa salaman ala Ibrahim. The first thing my children do when they've got a temperature is recite this, because it's ingrained into them. When you're putting water on their foreheads or whatever you're doing, make sure you recite this. It is for a fever. Sayyidah Fatima taught this. The next ayah we're going to look at is about Suleiman. So you're going to look at ayah 79 to 80, Dawud and Suleiman. Okay. So what happens here? فَفَهَمْنَا, Fahima is to understand. فَفَهَمْنَا Suleiman, so we made Suleiman to understand. وَكُلًّا آتَيْنَا حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا, and to each we gave wisdom and knowledge. So he was somebody who understood, who had wisdom. That's why you've got Solomon in any tradition is known as the wise one. وَسَخَّرْنَا مَعَ Dawud al-Jibala, my goodness. And so now we have the mountains submitting to Dawud. Yusabbihna, and they sing the perfection of Allah. Wat-tayr, even the birds. Wa kunna fa'ilin, and we were the ones who did it. So you can imagine the mountains, the birds, and when Dawud recites the Zabur, when Prophet Dawud recites it, all these are in sync with him. You can just imagine it. It's just something else. وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ, and we taught Dawud, صَنْعَةَ اللَّبُوسِ, to make these armors as such. We taught him that. لَكُمْ لِتُحْسِنَكُمْ مِنْ بَعْسِكُمْ, so that might protect you. فَعَلَ أَنْتُمْ شَاكِرُونَ, will you not then be grateful? They're supposed to protect you in war. وَلِسُلَيْمَانَ الرِّيحَ, and to Suleiman, Rih is wind, Asifa, we made it submit to him. Asif also is sorry, so it submitted to him. Tajri bi amrihi, it blew with his order, ilal ard, in the earth, alladhi barakna fihi, and the land that we had blessed. Wa kunna bi kulli shayin amilin, and we are the knower of all things. It's just something else. So when you look at the wind, it's a reminder of how it was made subservient to Suleiman. When you look at birds and you look at the mountains, then you think of Dawud and how they sang with him. So you can see I've put Dawud and Suleiman and I've highlighted it. It's actually for the human being, because we see wind all the time. We see the blowing of the wind when we go in the gardens. You're going to think of Suleiman. We always see birds. We're supposed to think of Dawud. There's a wonderful story about Prophet Dawud making these, because this iron was made soft in his hands. So he's making these armors, and Luqman is sitting in a corner. And he's sitting in a corner, and he's just watching him. And Dawud says, aren't you going to ask me what I'm making? Come on, this is new. This is something nobody has ever made. Aren't you going to ask me? He said, no, you're going to tell me anyway. That was the wisdom of Luqman, the silence. He knew he would tell him at some point. Oh, and then I love this ayah, and I'm sure all of you love it too. My goodness, let's talk about it. وَذَنُّونَ, the possessor of Noon. He's known as Wadhannun. And Noon is a big fish or a whale. That's known as Noon. Why is it known as Noon? I'll show you. Because when a fish is taken out of water, here, have a look. When a fish is taken out of water, it curls like a Noon, like that. That's why a fish is known as Noon, or a large fish is known as Noon. So Wadhannun, the possessor of the fish. It doesn't say that this fish possessed him. It says he was a possessor of the fish. إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا, when he went away angry with his people, and his people were angry with him. فَظَنَّ, he thought, أَنْ لَنْ نَقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ, that we would not take him to task for leaving his people. Because Allah didn't tell him to leave. He left because they were angry with him. They didn't want to listen to him. And so he goes to the seashore, gets on a boat, there's a storm, they draw lots, and he's put in the water, and then he finds himself in the belly of the fish. فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ, and he cried out in the darkness, أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنْتَ سُبْحَانَكَ إِنِّي كُنْتُ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ, there is no God but you, I declare your perfection, I have been unjust to myself. And then فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ, Allah says we responded to him. وَنَجَّيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْغَمِّ, we saved him from his sadness. وَكَذَلِكَ نُنْجِي الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, and that's how we save those who believe. Ayatul Karima, my goodness, is probably one of the most amazing ayah around. So you could put Yunus, you could put Ayatul Karima, you can put Ayatul Karima here, right? Maybe here. Ayatul Karima. Recite it all the time. I've also drawn Noon, so I don't forget, and I've drawn the fish as well, which you could do too. Okay, and then another beautiful ayah, 21:107. The last one we'll do in this chapter. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, and we did not send you, O Muhammad, except to be utter, incredibly merciful, incredibly kind to all people, all creation, at all ages, to all the worlds. I mean, you can't do more than that. He is Rahmatul lil Alameen. Awwaluna Muhammad wa akharuna Muhammad wa awsatuna Muhammad. The first is Muhammad, the last is Muhammad, all of them Muhammad, kulluna Muhammad. The middle is Muhammad, all of them are Muhammad. And that is what Imam Mahdi is like as well. Rahmatul lil Alameen. Okay, now we're going to look at Surah Al-Hajj. So Surah Al-Hajj obviously talks about Hajj. It talks about three kinds of human beings: the believers, those who defiantly reject guidance, and those who are on the edge. And that's what we're going to look at just quickly, just so you know where they are. So if you look at my Qur'an, let's just have a look at it. First, let's look at the ayah. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ, there's among people, مَن يُجَادِلُ فِي اللَّهِ, who disputes about Allah بِغَيْرِ إِلْمٍ, without any knowledge. وَيَتَّبِعُ كُلَّ شَيْطَانٍ مَرِيدٍ, and follows every rebellious shaitan. So he is the defiant rejecter of guidance. Then you have the same thing, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ, the ayah is repeated, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يُجَادِلُ فِي اللَّهِ بِغَيْرِ إِلْمٍ, without any knowledge. وَلَا هُدًى وَلَا كِتَابٍ مُنِيرٍ, without guidance and without the book. So he contends that all the time. What does he do? ثَانِيَ عِطْفِهِ لِيُذِلَّ عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ, with arrogance he turns away from Allah. Not only does he turn away, he wants to turn others an sabilillah as well, away from the way of Allah. لَهُ فِي الدُّنْيَا خِزْيٌ, disgrace in the world, وَنُذِيقُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ عَذَابَ الْحَرِيقِ, and he will taste the punishment of burning in the world. Now who's the second type of person? وَمِنَ النَّاسِ, this is the one who is at the edge. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ, and by the way, let me show you in here. So you can see ayah 3, I put disputes about everything. Disputes about everything in ayah 3. And then you have ayah 9, where he disputes without a book, without any sort of knowledge at all. Ayah 8, without any knowledge as well. And he wants to turn other people away as well. Now this guy is on the verge, which we're going to talk about. So he says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى حَرْفٍ, there are amongst human beings those who serve Allah standing on the edge. فَإِنْ أَصَابَهُ خَيْرٌ, if something good comes to them, اطْمَأَنَّ بِهِ, they are satisfied. وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ فِتْنَةٌ, if they are tested, انْقَلَبَ عَلَى وَجْهِهِ, they turn back. خَسِرَ الدُّنْيَا, they lose the dunya and the akhirah. ذَلِكَ هُوَ خُسْرَانُ الْمُبِينَ, it's a manifest loss. So they only believe when things are good. When things are bad, they turn back. So they're on the edge. And the next one, obviously, is the believer. And this is ayah 14. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُدْخِلُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَفْعَلُ مَا يُرِيدُ. And those who believe, and he will enter those who believe and who manifest their belief in good deeds in Jannah. And you can read the rest of that later. Here we go. I put that in green, believers. So you have believers, verge, and disputer. And we had disputer before as well. Okay. The next ayah we're going to look at is ayah 27. Okay. وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ, and it's an announcement of Hajj to all. It's from Adhan, you say Adhin. Prophet Ibrahim is told, proclaim it, shout it out. يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا, the men will come. وَعَلَى كُلِّ ذَامِرٍ, they will come on foot. يَأْتِينِي مِن كُلِّ فَجٍ أَمِيقٍ, they will come from every camel or every sort of transport, from every remote path. And you know today, if there's Hajj, people come from absolutely everywhere. And that's one adhan of Ibrahim, which calls them to Hajj. I've put that there. And before that, if you look at the ayah before, وَإِذْ بَوَّعْنَا لِإِبْرَاهِيمَ مَكَانَ الْبَيْتِ, and we assigned to Ibrahim the place of the house. And لَا تُشْرِكَ بِهِ شَيْئًا, do not associate anyone with Allah. Now what is he told? وَطَهِّرْ بَيْتِي, I put a Kaaba there. So purify my house. For who? لِلطَّائِفِينَ, those who do tawaf. That's why I put a circle around here. And you could put more circles if you want. You could put 7 circles if you want. And those who pray. وَالْقَائِمِينَ, those who stand. وَالرُّكَّعِ السُّجُودِ, those who do ruku, and those who sajda. So you could put that up there. And the ayah after you can highlight as well, because it says لِيَشْهَدُوا مَنَافِعُ لَهُمْ, so that they may witness the advantages of Hajj as well. And you could put that down there too. The next ayah we're going to look at is 73. Okay. 73 says, Ya ayyuhan nas, O human beings, ضُرِبَ مَثَلٌ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ, we're going to give you an example, therefore you have to listen. فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ, listen. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ, those who call other than Allah, that means you make somebody a god, not him. لَن تَخْلُقُوا ذُبَابًا, they cannot even create a fly. لَوْ اجْتَمَعُوا لَهُ, even if they all got together. وَإِن يَسْلُبْهُ الذُّبَابَ, and if a dhubaba, if a fly, shay'an, took anything away from them, لَا يَسْتَنْكِذُوهُ مِنْهُ, they would not be able to take it back. If a fly eats something or lands on some food and takes some food, then immediately his saliva breaks it down. So you can't even get back what he took, even if you dissected the fly. Allah says, ضَعُفَ الطَّالِبُ, weak is the one who calls, وَالْمَطْلُوبُ, and the one who is called upon. These are all examples. When I look at a fly, I think, oh goodness, I can't tell anybody else. I have to ask Allah. And He is the one. I cannot associate anybody else with Him too. So you can see my fly here, dhubaba. I've circled dhubaba and I put fly here. It's just a matter of being able to connect to the Qur'an every time you see something in life. And finally, 78. So, وَجَاهِدُوا فِي اللَّهِ حَقَّ جِهَادِهِ. So the first order I've got is try hard, strive, do the best you can in His way. وَهُوَ اجْتَبَاكُمْ, He chose you. وَمَا جَعَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ, He hasn't laid upon you any hardship in religion. Which religion? Millata Abikum Ibrahim. It is the same religion which is the religion of your father Ibrahim. Huwa sammakumul muslimin. He named you Muslims min qablu. Before that, وَفِي هَذَا لِيَكُونَ الرَّسُولَ شَهِيدًا. And this messenger is a witness to you. Shahidan alaykum wa takunu shuhada ala nas, and you are witness over people. So what am I supposed to do? فَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ, establish salah. وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ, share or look after human beings, serve humanity. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِاللَّهِ, and to hold on to Allah. هُوَ مَوْلَاكُمْ, He is my guardian, He is your guardian, He is your master. فَنِعْمَ الْمَوْلَى, what an awesome master. وَنِعْمَ النَّصِيرُ, and what an awesome helper He is. So I've done the same thing here. And most places Allah says Jahidu fi sabilillah. Here He says Wajahidu fillah. Really serious. So strive in Allah, so get close to Him. In other words, I've written in the post-it note up here, you're a witness over people, establish salah, give zakah, and hold on to Allah. And that in essence is these two surahs. They're just amazing. Maybe you could read them, they're phenomenal. Inshallah, we will do the next surah tomorrow, or the next juz tomorrow, which will be juz 18. ربنا